Welcome to the What's the Point podcast, brought to you by visitmournespoint.com.
So hi, it's Adrian here from What's the Point, brought to you by visitmournespoint.com, and today I'm delighted to be joined by local artist Jacqueline Rooney, who's going to talk a wee bit about her art, her decision to leave a secure job and follow her passion, and how she balances all of that with a busy family life. Hi Jacqueline, thanks for joining me.
Hello Adrian, thank you very much for having me. I'm looking forward to chatting with you this morning now.
Jacqueline, having grown up living in the heart of the Mournes Mountains in Carningford Lough, the surroundings, having lived and grown up in such a beautiful area, has obviously played a massively important role in the inspiration for your art.
Absolutely, Adrian. Having grown up at the foot of the Mournes Mountains with views of the sea undoubtedly inspired me and shaped my dream to become an artist. And I have views now out of my studio of Carningford Lough and the Cooley Peninsula and the Mournes Mountains. And subconsciously, they are definitely filtering through most of my work because I want to celebrate the beauty of where we live with the rest of the world as much as possible.
And when did you first discover art and painting as your vocation and passion in life?
That began from a very early age. We spent summers staying in my granny's up near the Silent Valley in the Mournes Mountains, and with very limited television and electric at that time, I just got my wee sketchbook out and drew, and then started painting everything I could see, Adrian, from a very, very early age. And Granny was one of my biggest fans. She just thought it was amazing. So it led me on to do my degree in fine art and teaching, and then I was head of art in a busy secondary school for 12 years before deciding to really go for it and turn my absolute passion into my full-time job.
Those early sketchbooks, have you still got them?
They're in Mum and Dad's attic, yeah. I'm funny, they found a few of them there recently when they were decluttering, and they didn't throw them out, thankfully. So
Good.
It's lovely to look back. I remember my primary 2 teacher telling my mum that she'd never seen that detail before in drawings, so like little plaits in the hair and bows when I was drawing people. And so from a very early age, I was aware that I had a talent, but it wasn't obviously realised until a little bit later.
So those early sketchbooks will be at an auction at some point in the future, going for millions of pounds.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. They'll be framed.
As you said, you were a teacher. It must have been a big step. It's obviously a courageous step to make, to follow your dream and jump out of the security of having a full-time job into, I suppose, the unknown. How was that? And what was that journey like before you took the plunge? And I suppose it's an inspiration for others who might have a passion and vocation in life that they are really wanting to explore, but they're fearful and reluctant just maybe to take the plunge.
Yeah, that's a really good question, Adrian. As I say, from the earliest I can remember, I always wanted to be an artist. And I remember sensible people saying, oh, sure, you'll grow out of that idea and whatever. And as I was teaching, I was trying to inspire my pupils up to A level to follow their dreams and follow their passions. And this niggling was in the back of my mind that I wasn't doing that myself. So we had a bit of a life-changing couple of years. We lost 2 family members to cancer, and we had our 2 children within the same 18 months. And my husband and I sat down and just said, right, life's too short. He said, you're talking about it long enough. So I took a career break. I had been saving for a long time and had been painting and selling my work alongside my teaching. So I had a wee bit of a grounding and a test the water and things. But whenever I took the career break, Adrian, my business started to really, really grow. And I think it was my absolute passion to be finally doing what I really, really wanted to do. And the doors started to open. So I handed in my notice there a couple of years ago, and I have never looked back. And I would tell anyone who is seriously considering it or is on the fence at the moment that it is possible if you really, really, really want it so much. And I'd say I work more hours now than I did as a teacher, but the satisfaction and the feeling of fulfillment and following my absolute dream is so worth it.
And as you said, as a mum of 2 young boys and as a creative person, in a time whenever the kids weren't around, you could obviously fulfill that creative passion, and when you're in the zone, you could have worked for however long, right into the night, early morning, and obviously whenever the children come along, that creates a whole different dynamic. How do you find that whenever you're in that creative zone, balancing all of that?
That's a really good question. That's a big challenge for me, to be honest, Adrian. And people say before you have children, you'll not know what you did with your time. And that's so true, because when they come along, they are your priority. They're my bosses at the moment. My two boys are age 3 and 4, Finn and Evan. I really have to be very disciplined and structure my time management very wisely. And I do literally spend every hour I can, from 5 a.m. when Finn wakes every morning. I would use the morning time to do my social media, and then my husband, who's very supportive, would try and give me a chance. We block out times in the week that I spend painting and doing admin and things. And as soon as the boys are in bed, then I would come back to my studio, which is within our home, our family home. So there's a fantastic feeling of that you can dip in and out of it. I can leave a painting drying on my easel and then come back to it, and so forth. So it's about just managing your time and being really good with that. So I absolutely love it, and I don't mind sitting to 11 and 12 at night sometimes doing my art. So that's what I would say. You can still do it if you really, really want to, you know.
In terms of the creative process, do you have bursts of creativity, as you said, due to your family and your 2 young boys, you've had to be disciplined, I suppose, to structure your work and the creative process of the painting in round all of that. Ordinarily, does it come in bursts, or is it a case of this you're always just maintaining that process? How does that creative process work for you?
As an artist, I never switch off, and as a musician, you probably are quite similar. My boys and I and my husband, even if we're going on family days out, I never am without my camera and my little small sketchbook, because we could be driving along and I would literally put on the brakes as quickly as possible and maybe see a scene that just jumps out at me, or something that really inspires me. They've just got used to it. Oh, mummy's taking photos for her art, or mummy's doing a wee sketch, and the boys actually quite enjoy it. Finn asked me the other day, could he get a little sketchbook like mine, so that when we're going out and about, he can do that too. So it's lovely. So, you never switch off, Adrian, and every opportunity is there day and night, but depending on maybe the view or the scene or the colours or the lighting. So I'm never without thinking about it. It sort of, it kind of takes over your mind quite a lot, but it can be incorporated into your day-to-day life and enjoyed that way. So
yeah, as you said, by bringing the children into the whole process and involving them, it's part of your day. As it's not a case necessarily, I suppose, of, well, now I'm doing my work, now I'm in the creative process, I'm in the flow. It's just part of who you are and what you do as a family.
It is actually, and the boys don't know me as anything other than Mummy the artist, which is so sweet. And they have their own little easels set up, and they actually do draw the scenes they see outside, which I don't think a lot of children would be doing that at this stage, because it's not important at this point in their lives so much. But Finn will say to me, who's 4, Mummy, look at that lovely view, or Mummy, look at the mountains, and I think, oh my goodness, they're absorbing my passion for it, which is so lovely,
That's brilliant in a world of devices and technology, that young children are noticing our environment, our landscape, are noticing things around us, and the beauty of all of that natural beauty, which is great that you're opening up that to them.
Well, as you know, Adrian, where we live, I mean, we've Carlingford Lough and Kilbroney Park on our doorstep, and the views are stunning. And for me to know that my children are actually appreciating that is something really special, And I don't think, had I have kept on the 9 to 5 as a teacher, I don't know that they would be exposed to that as much as they are now, or even using the language that I'm using, So that you realise they're subconsciously picking up and being inspired, which is such a lovely thing,
In terms of your art now, you mentioned that you started whenever you were very young. Has there been a progress in your style, and how would you describe your style now, and has that changed over the years?
Yes, of course. When I was studying my degree, before I studied it, and up until A level, and a lot of people have come back to me and said, "Oh, your portraiture was amazing, almost like photographic." Adrian, I would have really concentrated on portraiture, and my art teacher used to say she could imagine me on the banks of the Seine in Paris doing people's portraits. But when I did my degree, we were sort of encouraged to be a wee bit looser and freer in our style. So it kind of taught me to be a little bit more experimental. And then it has evolved now to the point where I just want to express my love for where I live and what inspires me through colour, and sort of uplift and help people to sort of enjoy the landscapes and the seascapes around around us through vibrant colours. So that's where I am now, and I absolutely love doing that.
I'm very interested just on the effect that music, art and colour has on our brains, and I suppose the ongoing health of our brains. And what you're doing with colour, just it does, while it's a creative process of painting and you reproducing your own interpretations just of our beautiful landscape of Carlingford Lough and the Mournes Mountains, it works at a much deeper level as well.
Yes, Adrian, the clients that I've met and the people who have bought my art or contacted me all sort of say the same thing, and it's how they had an emotional connection when they saw the piece that I had created. So it's evoking maybe a memory or a feeling, as opposed to it just being a recreation of what you see in front of you, or a photograph, like a likeness, like a photograph. So I kind of want to make it deeper than that, and also want to try and uplift people's interiors and homes and offices, really, through my art, which is celebrating the beauty of what we do have on our doorstep and beyond. So I spent a long time traveling in Australia and Asia and different places in the world, and what really influenced me was the sense of light and colour, Adrian. And sometimes we have grey days here, and I just think, why not add a wee bit more colour if we can, so that's what I try to do through my art.
Well, living in Warren Point, that's the thing that strikes me. I try and take a stroll around the front shore along that promenade every day just over Carlingford Lough, and it never ceases to amaze me. While the scene, in terms of the location, the geography, remains the same, it always changes. I always think there's not really a good day, bad day weather-wise. There's just always a beautiful day one way or another. Because sometimes whenever you see the rain and the clouds coming through and over the Cooley Mountains and the Mournes Mountains just down onto the loch, it just provides an absolutely beautiful and wonderful scene to witness, and that changes every day.
It's quite magical, isn't it? I mean, this is the thing, and where we are based here in Australia, we have the view of that, and every morning you open the curtains and you just think, wow, whether, as you say, it's stormy skies, tempestuous waves, or a calm, almost like mirror-like quality on the Carlingford Lough, it is just something special, and I just want to try and capture that as much as I can to keep those moments alive in my art, for other people to enjoy.
Now, you were saying earlier on just about that you would encourage anybody who's got a passion for creating whatever, and I think in this area of Warren Point, Rostrevor, the South Down, the whole of the Mourne area, it's a real vibrant place for creativity, whether that's musicians, songwriters, poets, writers, crafts, men and women, art, that the technology, I suppose, that we've got now gives us a chance and an opportunity to be able to show the world what it is that we do and what we've got to offer.
I absolutely agree. And, I've been sending artworks all over the world right now. One to France there yesterday, one to England today. And the lady who I posted the painting to England to, she said her dream is when everything's over, she's going to come and visit the Mournes and Warren Point and Rostrevor, because she just feels she wants to see it for herself. So I think it's lovely that through our different arts and crafts and musicianship, and that we're all singing from the same hymn sheet, as it were, and we're trying to just shout out loud and say this place is just fabulous, amazing, and we bounce off each other and inspire each other. I see so many other musicians and artists, and I think it's incredible that the wealth of talent, but I think it just is testament to where we are and what inspires us to do what we're doing. So I hope we can continue doing so.
Social media, our Facebook, Instagram, is very much central to us as a business tool to promote what it is that we do. But it also is central, I suppose, from your perspective. I'd be interested to hear just your views on that, as a way just of providing an uplifting experience to people.
Yeah, I agree, Adrian. It was something that I was a wee bit apprehensive, even at the start of the pandemic. I didn't want to be sort of taking over the news feeds with my daily images of inspiration and work and things. But then a lot of people messaged me and said, no, your uplifting, colourful artwork is sort of getting us through the day or giving us a wee smile. And it's not that I'm trying to sell it per se, but it's just sharing what it is that makes me really happy and hope that it can make others happy also. And I've built up a really lovely community through the social media, especially Facebook would be the main one. I'm Instagram and I'm on Twitter and LinkedIn. But Facebook, I have a lot of people that they're not necessarily clients or buying my work, but I've become actually friends with them almost through the process and through the growing my business online that way, because you feel you have a connection with them and interact with them and chat about things. And it can be even just as you say, something like, oh, that's just reminding me of the Mourne. I want to come back to the Mourne Mountains for a visit, or go to the sea and enjoy that sort of all the senses that you can experience. So I just want to keep doing that as much as possible, because as I say, we do have great days, both emotionally and physically. And I think if we can just add that wee bit of a colour or a sense of uplifting feeling, then I continue to hopefully do that if I can for people,
And talking of the COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic, the lockdown, how has your routine been affected? Or because you operate and work from home, perhaps there hasn't been that much of a change as far as that end of things, but we're obviously have all of us experienced very troubling times. And how have you been finding all of that over the last I suppose 8 weeks now at this point?
Yeah, it seems like a blur, doesn't it? It's 8 weeks, yeah. Initially, I'd say I was very nervous about it, and different people said, "Oh, you'd wish you stayed a teacher now or whatever." And not for 1 second did I feel that, because what actually happened was I started getting a massive surge of orders and people contacting me because they found that there some people were sitting at home and they were wanting to update their interiors and they just wanted a piece of bright and vibrant artwork for that, or other people were sending little small framed prints to loved ones and putting messages saying, we can't get to the Mournes right now, but we'll get back there soon. And and the messages I was getting and I'm still getting just really astounded me, and I couldn't believe how thoughtful people had become, because I think it sort of brought out the best in many people, Adrian, because we were all sort of forced to stop and just really realize what was important. And I had to really work on and grow my online presence and my website and things. So still working on that, but it's definitely it's something that it forced me to do in terms of my business. So I'm kind of grateful for that we nudge. And like I say, I've been able to spend more time with the children and as a family unit as well. So trying to think of the positives out of the whole experience, as I know it's a very tough time for so many and all businesses and things. So, but for me, I'm very grateful for having my own home studio and being able to keep my business going really well as much as possible.
Outside of art, I have no doubt that you're a music fan. I know your daddy very well, who's a local traditional musician. Are you a fan of music? I'm sure you are.
Yes, that's a good question too. I have been playing music since I was 3. Dad taught us the tin whistle, Adrian, before we started primary school, and so that was the love was there all along. But I've always played music and sang and things all throughout my life, but not to a professional level, but just for the love of it. And Dad would play Irish music, Irish traditional music in the local pubs and things, and never does he stop asking me to come along and join in. So it's such a lovely thing, because we have so much of it here in Restrever, not currently obviously with COVID-19, but there's live music every night of the week if you want it, and Mourne Point, so we're very, very blessed, and you meet the nicest people through the music as well, and we're all again celebrating where we are and what we have around us. So it's another form of creative expression, and it's a lovely thing to be able to have, yourself, because you're a professional, so it's a form of therapy as well, isn't it?
It sure is, yeah. And let's hope it returns in some form. It's really difficult, I suppose, at this point to predict how all of that is going to materialize. The two of the biggest musical festivals, I would argue, in Ireland, the Warrenpoint Blues Festival and Restrever's Fiddler's Green were obviously, casualties of all of this here, because that's, I suppose, what we all had to do. But they're so important for the community in so many levels. So I suppose we hope that they can reconvene next year and we can all start enjoy all of the wonderful music and the vibrancy of just people coming to our towns and our villages and and having some fun.
Yeah, I think people now more than ever need music in their lives, need all of the arts really, because it's we're all going to be coming out of this a little bit different and a little bit more aware of things, and I think it's all about trying to help people to get back on track and feel happy inside and out. So I think music and art, but music is so fundamental to that, and I really hope it gives us something then hopefully we can strive and look towards and look forward to, because as you say, they're the big events in our calendar locally, and it's going to be a big miss this year, but then we can focus on next year and make them bigger and better hopefully.
So Jacqueline, where can people find you online?
I'm all over social media. I'm on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and LinkedIn. And I also have my own website, which is jacquelinerooney.com. So all of those will have examples of my work, original art and art prints as well. So I would post every single day to Facebook and Instagram. So certainly join me or follow me there. I'd be delighted to see you.